Life lesson for me to note down: don't get too excited about your rank before the end of the game week. Hello, hope you're having a great Monday. What is up, guys, and welcome to FPL Today and the FPL Team Selection video for Gameweek 12, where we go over how I did in Gameweek 11 and start to consider the moves that I'm going to make in Gameweek 12, which will hopefully also help you make the right decisions for your Fantasy Premier League side. So if you enjoy this content, you guys have been smashing it on the likes and the views, so keep that up by hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe and hitting that bell for FPL. All of the support greatly helps the channel, and it's just a couple of seconds to do. So thank you so much if you are one of those that does that regularly. I appreciate you, and let's get on with this video. So we start off by looking at my Game Week 11 side, and we're going to begin with the players that did significantly well, 8 points or more for me in Game Week 11. And the main man, Kevin De Bruyne, came through after a good performance in the Burnley game with another stellar performance in what was only a 2-0 win. And to be honest, I think a lot of us were hoping for more. But Kevin De Bruyne and Raheem Sterling as well, who is in my fan team, were the guys involved in both of the goals, with an assist and a goal apiece. And Kevin De Bruyne was the man I put the captaincy armband on. So fortunately for me, that was 28 points very early on in the game week, and he was the best option out of my starting 11. In fact, the best option out of my squad for the captaincy armband. So bringing in Kevin De Bruyne has paid off. Although I could have waited a week, I didn't need to bring him in for that tough fixture against Spurs. But with the Burnley game and this game week, he has done rather well for me. Jamie Vardy and Patrick Bamford also getting 8 points apiece. They did well for me in Game Week 11, with Vardy getting a goal just before the game was over against Sheffield United and then absolutely obliterating a corner flag. But that is irrelevant for me, really, although he did get a yellow card for that, which cost me a point. However, Vardy brought in for Timo Werner has outscored him in the 2 game weeks since I brought him in, so have to be kind of happy with that transfer. And Bamford finally getting a goal for me. He was brought in for Kane a while back, and of course, Kane has had good performances against both Man City and now Arsenal, so maybe that wasn't the best move, but it has allowed me to spend money elsewhere. And overall, I can't be too mad about what's happened with Spurs. I knew it was always a possibility, but I was trying to hedge my bets on points being more fruitful elsewhere. But finally, being the recipient of some Bamford points made for a very happy end to my Saturday. It's just a shame I didn't own any of the players that scored big on Sunday. Then we look at some of the other players that scored points for us, and to be honest, it was only 2 others. It's Bruno Fernandes, who of course didn't start, which was a bit of a concern considering I didn't actually have that many starters in my squad because of the postponements happening in Game Week 11. But Fernandes came on at half-time and had an absolute stellar performance and managed to get an assist and 4 bonus points, I believe, as well, from an absolutely great second half against West Ham. Of course, it hurts that it came against West Ham, but still, points on the board is always nice in FPL. And Calvert-Lewin also returning with a goal. He has been Mr. Consistent, only blanking in 2 game weeks, so very happy with him. And while a lot are considering getting off, if he keeps this up, I don't think I'm going to be moving him on anytime soon. As for the rest of the team, we have the defence, which only got 3 points in total so far. That doesn't help that Martinez didn't even play, but Cresswell only getting 1 point with the defeat to Man U, and Chilwell only getting 2 because they conceded against Leeds. It's a bit unusual for my defence to be this lacklustre, but we do still have Lamptey to play against Southampton at home. Apologies about the spelling on there. I drank a lot on Saturday because it was my birthday, so I'll put that down to me not being fully with it on Sunday when I did the graphics. And then we look at the midfield. We have Perez and Jota playing on Sunday. Jota didn't start and didn't get any returns in a 4-0 win, which was disappointing. And Perez, although Jimenez didn't start, it didn't really look like that Wolves attack clicked against Liverpool. So it's a shame that we didn't get any extra points on Sunday, which probably would have seen us with a green arrow. If we look at the bench, we did have both Steer and Grealish not playing, just like Martinez, and Kilman getting 0 points and Taylor getting 2. So not really much I could have done to improve my score. Maybe Taylor in for Cresswell. But we're hoping for Lamptey to get a clean sheet, which could see us with a green arrow going into Tuesday, or one of his winning penalty assists, or even a goal would be fantastic, Mr. Lamptey. And where does that leave me in the FPL game? We scored 62 points in total, beating the average of 55. However, we need slightly higher scores to improve our rank now that we are around the top 500k. Overall points is now at 655 with an overall rank at 545,596. So not too bad, but we have dropped outside of the top 500k. So, with all that being said, who are we looking to move on for Game Week 12 and replace with a player that will hopefully get us more points? And believe it or not, it's not Pedence, who usually is my go-to person for this part of the video, but instead it is Mr. Kevin De Bruyne. Now, I know that probably sounds very strange to a lot of you. He's just had two very good performances, returns of 10 points and 14 points respectively. However, Salah has come back and got a goal and assist. Of course, you've got Son still doing a bit of a madness as well at Spurs. And De Bruyne has Manchester United away. Now, this game can go either way. Man United like to counter, whereas Man City like to control the game. So I could see this going either way. I have Bruno Fernandes and De Bruyne in my side already. However, Salah versus Fulham away is just too hard to ignore. And if I compare Bruno Fernandes to Kevin De Bruyne, as far as consistency this season, Bruno Fernandes is winning. And also, as far as which one is more of a talismanic figure for their club, I think Bruno Fernandes is more likely to be involved in all the goals that Man United score, compared to Kevin De Bruyne being involved in all of the goals that Man City score. The only other way I could potentially get Salah in for this Fulham fixture would be to downgrade Vardy, but he has Brighton next, and I brought him in for a certain set of fixtures, and I kind of want to see that through to see if Vardy can get a big haul in one of these. That being said, once those fixtures are done, I do think Vardy is someone I want to move on, because right now Leicester City aren't impressing me that much, but Vardy is still ticking over with points. The plan would be to then flip-flap between the likes of Salah, Kevin De Bruyne and Bruno Fernandes. So Kevin De Bruyne would very likely come back into my side pretty quickly after this fixture, and it would have to most likely be for one of Salah or Bruno Fernandes. But yes, De Bruyne, he's the man at risk for Game Week 12's transfer. So before we look at my team selection for Game Week 12, a quick word from partners of the channel, Fantasy Football Hub, which is where I get all my stats and make a lot of my decisions from, so check out this quick video from them. All the data on FPL Today is taken from the Fantasy Football Hub, with tools such as player comparison to choose the best players out of two options, Opta stats tables to see who could be hitting form soon and who will be amongst the goals, and a fixture ticker so you know who has not just the form but also the fixtures to match, and so much more, like articles and coverage of other fantasy football games. Ask yourself why you haven't joined the Fantasy Football Hub. It's just £2 a month to unlock your FPL potential. So guys, if you are interested in the Fantasy Football Hub, please check out the top link in the description down below. It does help support this channel as well, and it will help you with your FPL game with things like articles, stats and fixture tickers. So go check them out, top link in the description. So moving on to Game Week 12, and we are going to start off as always with the goalkeeper and defence, and it should be the case. We have our goalkeeper back with Wolves away for Martinez. Now Wolves away, Wolves don't seem that great up front at the moment, and they have Raul Jimenez injured, so hopeful for a clean sheet in this one, and hopefully it means the Aston Villa players have got a bit of a rest and they've recharged their batteries and come into this one firing on all cylinders. We also have a defence right now of Cresswell, Chilwell and Taylor. Cresswell leads away. To be fair, I don't think a clean sheet is likely in this one just because of the way that Leeds play. However, Cresswell does have an attacking threat, is on set pieces, so we're hopeful for some points. But Cresswell's getting very frustrating to own because the amount of times he puts a good ball into the box and it doesn't get put into the back of the net is quite angering, but we'll have to move on from that. Also, Chilwell against Everton away. Now, Everton aren't really putting up the same kind of attacking numbers as they did at the beginning of the season, but they do seem to still be scoring quite regularly. However, Chelsea's defence has improved significantly, and Chilwell does have an attacking threat, so again, we're hopeful. And then Taylor for Burnley. It's Arsenal. Arsenal look like they don't have much about them this season, so Taylor comes in from the bench because I'm hopeful for a clean sheet in this one. maybe even more so than Chilwell and Cresswell. So, surprising as that is to say, Burnley can be good on their day defensively, and Arsenal just don't look like they have that much going forward, apart from maybe Saka. Looking at the midfield, we've got Grealish back with Wolves away as well, and like I said with Martinez, I'm hoping that potentially this week off has given them a bit of a refresh and they can be firing on all cylinders, and Grealish is the type of player that can turn it on in pretty much any game, so we're very hopeful there. We've got Jota with Fulham away. At his price, even when it was reaching up to 7 million, just looks like a really good option. Now that he's had a rest in the game just gone, hopefully that means he plays the full 90 minutes against Fulham and can get me some returns here. Bruno Fernandes and De Bruyne playing each other at Old Trafford. And like I said earlier in the video, Bruno Fernandes is probably the one I'm more likely to keep just because he seems like the more talismanic figure for his club than De Bruyne is for Man City. And then with the strikers, we're looking at the front three of Bamford against West Ham at home, hopeful for points here. Calvert-Lewin with Chelsea at home. Again, he's been Mr. Consistent, so hopefully he can keep that form going. And Vardy, this was one of the fixtures he was also brought in for, Brighton Hove Albion at home. And I think the way Brighton play may help Leicester out a little bit and hopefully reinstall some faith in the Leicester City team, because I've not been impressed with the way they've been playing recently. Either way, if Vardy scores and Leicester still don't look good, this could be one of Vardy's last fixtures in the team for a little bit. And then the bench, at the moment we're going to have Podence against Aston Villa as first sub on the bench. I'm still hopeful that the front three can click without Jimenez, but I'm not hedging my bets on that. Lamptey with Leicester away. Attacking fullback could get something against Leicester City, but I just think the way Arsenal are playing, I'm going to go with Lamptey. And then Kilman with Aston Villa at home. Again, not too sure about Kilman and Wolves anymore, so that's why he fills up the last spot on the bench. And finally, we're going to look at potential transfers now. Who are we going to bring in for the likes of Kevin De Bruyne? And I think the first option is very clear to you all, because I pretty much already telegraphed it with what I've been saying, but the first choice is, of course, Mohamed Salah. Fulham away next. He's already got a goal and an assist against Wolves. Didn't get anything in the Brighton game, but could have quite easily got something in that one. And to be honest, if it wasn't for the quarantining for one game week, I wouldn't have taken him out. But overall, Bruno Fernandes has outperformed him in the 2 game weeks since Mohamed Salah's been back, so it's not too bad of a transfer. But I do want Mohamed Salah back in my side, and if I was going to rank the 3 midfielders at the moment, Kevin De Bruyne would probably just be under Bruno Fernandes and Mohamed Salah, which is why I want Salah back for this Fulham fixture. We then have the potential transfer of Podence. It's always a potential transfer for me. Just will it ever happen? And we're looking at Souček just to downgrade a little bit, because I don't want the benching headache of Jota and Podence every game week, because I think I'm just going to choose Jota and then be upset if Podence scores. Whereas with Souček at 4.9 million, I don't think I'll be too upset if he scores and is on my bench. In the last 6 game weeks, he's managed to get 2 goals from 8 shots, 7 of those shots coming from inside the box and 3 of them being big chances, and also 1 key pass with expected goals at 1.47. Souček is just a utility player that seems to be able to get me some points every now and again, so I am keen on bringing him into the side, and that could be at the expense of Podence. And then finally, the transfer I'm considering to bring in for Jamie Vardy, if I wanted to downgrade and then be able to have the likes of Salah, De Bruyne and Bruno Fernandes in my midfield, would be Callum Wilson. And this is mainly a fixture pick because I'm not too keen on Newcastle as an attacking team. I'm also not too keen with the underlying stats for Wilson, but he does seem to be a player that pops up in the right place at the right time. With the fixtures the way they are, he could get some goals in these fixtures. He's managed 2 goals and 2 assists from 7 shots on goal, all 7 from inside the box with 3 big chances and expected goals at 1.79, and also 3 key passes with 1 big chance created. So I am looking at Wilson. However, it's unlikely I'm going to do that before Vardy plays against Brighton. But Callum Wilson is in my thoughts, just purely because other options, like Shea Adams, for instance, do seem to be on form, but the underlying stats again aren't that fantastic, and I'm taking fixtures into account here. And I just think Danny Ings is still the option I prefer if I was bringing in a Southampton striker. Anyway, guys, that is it for this video. So if you have enjoyed the video, do the things that support the channel out so much. It's simple. Just hit the like button, hit subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It takes mere seconds, and it will keep you updated with the videos that I put out on YouTube. Also, do check out Fantasy Football Hub, top link in the description if you want access to the data that I use on FPL Today. And with that being said, I've been JNO, this has been FPL Today, and remember, it's all about the game.